All right, we're live. Hi, guys.
Hello. Good evening. Well, evening for me. I don't know
Oh
if it's
gosh, yeah,
evening for other
don't be
people.
Italian about this, please. That's really funny. I think in Italy, I feel like the further south you go, the earlier the evening starts.
It's
Ironically, though,
true.
the later dinner is. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's true. It's just a very, very long evening.
Yeah, for me, I guess. See, I consider evening. It's more of like when it starts to get dark. So I guess like
Okay.
like 6:37. But then in the summer,
Yeah.
like it's a little later.
Yeah, because we usually say evening time after work, like 5 or 6 o'clock. So when it comes to that
Ah,
time when people are finishing work, so we just say good evening then, but it's quite loose.
yeah. I don't know. For me, like when I say evening, it's like the day is over or something. So I like always try to
Yeah.
avoid good evening. But then again, see, like these days, I've been saying good morning like at like 12 or 1 because I've been waking up so late. Sometimes I'll even be
Yeah,
texting the
exactly.
teacher to coordinate the webinars. Like, good morning. I'm like, oh gosh, it's like 1.
It's like I just woke up. Sleeping pattern is a mess,
Yeah,
complete mess.
same. And like I can't fall
Delightful.
asleep before like 2 or 3 now. And with the
Yeah,
with the new like the time change, even worse.
exactly. Yeah, it's terrible.
Hi
It's really difficult.
Mauro.
Okay. Maro, welcome. Hello. You're from
Great.
Genoa. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Hello. Hi. Oh, sorry. We both did that at the same time, I think. Sorry. Habit. Okay. So, guys, if you're out there as well, so we have Mauro as well. So, tell us your name, where you are, introduce yourself. Okay. And today we're going to be talking about fads and trends. Okay. So, we're asking you what trending movies, TV shows, books, other things are you currently following? So,
Hmm.
anything that's maybe trending now. Maybe we should introduce ourselves. Thiago, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So Lisa and I are colleagues. We work at one of the Milan schools. We work at the Central School in Via Meravigli. My name is Thiago,
Mm-hmm.
as you can see there. I'm 29. I'm from Brazil originally, though I've spent some time in California growing up. And I've been with Mayes for about 4.5 years or so now.
Excellent. And Lisa, as you can see, I'm from Ireland, so my accent is a bit different to Thiago. um, I have lived 2 years. Okay. And yeah, and I've been teaching with my ES since last September. So a well, it's before that too.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
uh, so talking about trending things. Okay, so Maro, maybe you can help us out with anything you're following that is currently trending. Thiago, what about you? Anything that you're
Yeah,
keeping
this
up
can
to
be
date with?
anything, guys. Music, movies, books, anything at all. I would say there are a couple things. Yeah. So this is actually something that Sean recommended in one of the webinars. So there is this a show on Netflix called Tiger King. I don't know if you heard of it, and it is
I've
just
heard of, yes,
absolutely
I've heard, I've seen
insane.
some things.
Yeah, I thought I wouldn't like it so much. It just doesn't seem like my
Uh-huh.
cup of tea. But I was hooked. Like I started it, and I really, it's just so out there. It's so different, and they actually managed to make it really interesting. So I know that one is trending. And another thing in terms of music, we have like Dua Lipa who came out with the newest
Mm-hmm.
album. So I know that's also trending at the moment.
Yeah, cool.
And anything you
Excellent.
are like into that is like currently trendy?
I guess I think everyone or most people are using it now. Obviously, with this situation, I've been using House Party, the app. So it's an app. I don't know if you've used it.
I saw
Um,
something on Twitter today about like data.
appa-
There was like some kind of scandal with it.
Yeah, apparently, so I've been using it with my friends, but apparently, yeah, there is some question as to maybe some data being stolen or there being hackers involved. So, yeah, I don't know. It might be
So
risky to use,
what
but I
is it
have
about?
been
How
using
does it
it.
work?
It's basically like a video call app, and you can play games with your friends while you're on a video call. And it works very easily,
Oh, I
which is why a lot
see.
of people have been using it. Because you can have like 6, 7 friends all in one window and you can play games and talk. So it works really, really well.
Oh, that's cool.
So but apparently it's also scamming people.
I see. Yeah, I
But yeah.
noticed Snapchat added some like new games that you can play now because they had a couple games
Ah,
before, but I noticed they've been adding more and more. I wonder if it's because of the quarantine. So Snapchat also has a few
probably.
games, but like that's just I guess just with one
Probably.
friend, not with a group. So great.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. So Mara has given us an answer.
Hmm.
Okay. So I don't follow Italian TV shows such as Big Brother. Okay, the other programs like that. I'm interested in documentaries and talk shows, so animals, nature, and something like that. Okay,
Oh.
okay. So not so much, I think, into reality TV is probably what you're saying here.
Hmm.
So not reality TV, but more documentaries. So
Yeah.
maybe Mara would like that. The one about the what is it? The king or what is it? The
Tiger King.
lion? No,
Tiger King.
Tiger King. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lion King.
Yeah, it's pretty out there. But it is true. I think Mauro, the whole idea of like animal documentaries or just like even watching webcams of like animals in their natural habitats. I notice I've been seeing a lot of this on the news. I guess it's like a way
Mm,
of I don't know, focusing on something positive and cute, like animals. But in this moment in particular, I do feel like it's trending a bit as well.
yeah, it's
So
true.
awesome.
Yeah, I
And
think so too.
hi,
And we also
Donatella.
have Donatella joining us. Hello. So just to explain Donatella, we were discussing a bit about things that are trending. Okay, things that are trending because that's our topic for this hour. So fads and trends. So let us know if there's anything that you've been keeping up with that is trending or that is very trendy right now.
Hmm.
Okay. A little bit
Yeah, I
about
guess
what we're going to
looking
talk about.
mhm. Those
Yes,
words.
sorry.
It's also
Go
interesting.
ahead,
Around like
Thiago.
a fad versus a trend. I tend to think about
Mm.
them in a certain way in my mind. How do you? What's the difference for you, Lisa? I wonder if it's the same.
So So maybe because a fad, I think, is something that's more short-lived.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, it's like it's going to go up, 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 and then very quickly decrease in interest. A
Yes.
fad, whereas a trend generally it's kind of like steady. It's more long-term. It's on the rise, and also
Exactly.
I guess on the rise, but then also it's trendy for a long period of time.
Yeah, I agree. I
What
think a
about
lot
you?
of things that go viral tend to be more of a fad. And then a trend, yeah,
Hmm.
it's a bit longer. To even give an example, for example, something that I would say is trendy right now. I mean, like there's the TikTok, for example. It's kind of trendy. It has been trendy for a while, and then there are some
Yes.
videos that they go viral, but they're
Hmm.
viral for like a few days, and so that's more. I wouldn't even say that's a fad per se, but it kind of gives that idea
Hmm.
of how short-lived it is. So I would say it's a little quicker.
Yeah. Exactly. Like for example, I don't know, sometimes certain things get shared. Like I remember that what was it, the blue and gold dress
Oh my
thing? It was
gosh.
like a phenomenon.
Someone just shared it the other day on Twitter. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are really
Again.
trying to bring this back now?" Yeah, they're like saying like trying to bring
No,
back simpler times, like when that was like our biggest concern.
that's true, actually. That is true. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's true though, but it's something that you know as well. It's not going to. It's going to be short lived. It's not going to last a very long time. It'll just come and go, I guess, in a fad.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. And we also have Ilaria from
Oh,
Padua
hi,
joining us
Laria.
as well. Welcome.
Great.
Okay, so what we're doing, we're basically we've already done this a bit, but discussing fads and trends. So trying to talk a bit more about maybe things that are of interest to you guys or that you're aware of, and just practicing some useful vocabulary. And also we'll look at some modified comparatives. Okay, so kind of how we can emphasize when we're comparing. Okay, so we can compare also things when we were younger to maybe now how it is or things like that. Okay. So, Thiago, these questions relate to shall we jump or
I guess so, because I feel like the audio, it won't quite work. So I guess we can just talk about the questions. And we can
yeah,
always like tell you guys we can give you the link after if you want to watch it. But yeah,
exactly.
maybe it's best to
About
skip it for now, I think.
exactly because in this case the questions are related to the video, but also it's more about fashion. Hip.
Mm-hmm.
Being hip, I love this. So being hip. So what we want to do here is to connect. So guys, we want to connect the vocabulary to the definition. Okay, so take a look at these, and if you want, you can do an order connecting the vocabulary, and we'll read through them as well while you're taking a look. Okay, so Thiago, do you want to read
Mm-hmm.
this?
Yes, absolutely. So the vocab we have the adjective if something is outdated, phrasal verb to catch on if something catches on, to fit in, something might also come back, something might be in style or on trend.
Okay, perfect. So take a look at these and try to match up to the definition. Okay, so we'll give you a bit of time here. Yeah, I think these are actually like very commonly
Mm-hmm.
time when people are talking about things that are in fashion or that are happening right now. Okay,
Yeah,
excellent. Really
very
good.
good, Raya.
So yeah, outdated. So fantastic. Something that's outdated is not modern or current. And then to catch on.
Especially, I mean, we
So
can
in
use
this case, we
catch on
say
in
some.
different ways. I guess here it's more of like if something catches on, a fad or a trend that catches on.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be used as well in a continuous way sometimes, like, oh, this really seems to be catching on at the moment. Okay. So to become popular. Really good. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Exactly. So to become popular is to catch on. Okay, Ilaria's getting them all, guys. Come on. Fight.
Exactly. Here, Donatella just gave us another one as well. So to fit in is to be socially accepted. Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
We especially use this for
Exactly.
people to fit into a group or a new or at work, like yeah, things like that
Yeah.
to fit in. Go to another country.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. To feel comfortable. Okay. And to come back. So this we can also say like something is making a comeback.
I think
Making a
yeah, I would
comeback.
say like that more often to make a comeback.
Mm. Yeah, unless you wanted to say we could put these two together, something to come, it's coming back in style. But I think yeah, to make a comeback is more common. Excellent.
Very good.
Fantastic. In style. What do you think is making a comeback at the moment?
Mm, maybe I don't know. I feel like people spending time with families is kind of making a comeback in the moment, or people that
That's
you
true.
live with. Because I feel like our lifestyle, especially before the quarantine, we used to be so busy and spend so much time
Mhm.
outside. And I think being forced to
Yeah.
to be home, kind of, some of that the simpler things in a certain way are kind of making a
Yeah.
comeback.
It's true. It's true. Good. Okay. Perfect. So in style, excellent. So something
Popular,
that is popular
fashionable.
or fashionable.
I would
And
say,
then we
Lara,
have a
that's a
good
good question. I would put it together. If I were to use the noun, it would be all together, to me at least,
Mm,
to make a comeback.
yeah, exactly. To make a comeback like
Yeah.
that. So all one word, a comeback.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. So that's how we would say
Another
it. So
another one I would say in style, one that we might also hear is in vogue, like the magazine.
mm, yeah, exactly. Because there are two magazines as well. In Style is another magazine as well.
Oh, is it really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. I didn't know that. In style in
I
vogue.
think probably
Uh,
it comes from the phrase obviously. Yeah, in Vogue.
ah.
Yeah. And then yeah, again it's I guess similar when people say, "Oh, that's so on trend at the moment." On trend. Okay. So we already talked about the difference between a fad and a trend. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit. Take a look at these questions. So you're in Vogue.
Ah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So perfect. Do you want to go over the definition again, just in case anyone missed it, or is that just to put it for reference?
Um, oh yeah, it was just so it's there. Exactly. So yeah, fad, as we said in the beginning, for
Perfect.
those of you who maybe joined us a little later, fad is something a bit more short-lived. Okay, so things that go viral or things that last just in a short period of time would be more of a fad, whereas a trend is a little bit longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Uh, exactly. And guys, so you can take a look at these questions. Okay, so take a look at these questions here and give us your own opinions on this. Okay, so we mentioned a couple of things already, but give us your own opinions or experiences. So we want to hear from you. And we'll just read through these while you're answering. Okay, for the
mhm.
first one. So, what would you say is on trend at the moment? Did it catch on fast or did it slowly become popular? Okay, so let us know what you think, guys, because sometimes things gradually become popular and sometimes things come out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Um, do you think, is there anything else, Thiago, that kind of maybe came up out of nowhere recently? I guess probably Zoom.
Zoom, yeah. I mean, we used it a little bit for online lessons, but I never realized how actually popular it was, like in the business world. And I'm seeing like so
Yeah,
many memes with Zoom now, and it's definitely like a service that people are using a lot nowadays. Yeah,
yeah,
Zoom
it's true.
for sure.
Yeah, so in that case, obviously it was being used before for business, but now it's really like catching on fast for
Hmm.
everyone to use as video calls.
Yeah. Another thing I would
It's
say is, of
true.
course, home cooking, especially baking. I see a lot of people
Yes,
making cakes and like just making like tasty stuff
definitely.
like that at home.
Yeah, exactly. I think that people have so much time to fill, they're experimenting with different things.
Yeah,
Okay, so let us know, guys, what are your experiences?
exactly.
Um, Yeah, I think also a lot of people now I see doing kind of obviously we have to, but at home yoga and things like this. So it's obviously becoming increasingly popular.
Hmm. Exactly. And then some other
Okay.
questions. Feel free to choose, just one of those guys. I know these tend to be a bit more, since it's a high level focus, the questions aren't just
Mhm,
simple answers sometimes. So choose one and just kind
mhm.
of develop your idea. You can also let us know, one comment at a time. Doesn't have to be like a long text. But just the other questions, I guess we can read here. So two, has there been something that has come back into style recently? So I guess more talking about style, so maybe things that you wear, etc. And how did it become popular
Mhm.
again? And then similarly,
Hmm.
if you had a friend whose style was outdated, would you tell them? And if they asked you if they were in style, what would you say? Would you be honest? Would you tell them a white lie? And last one, what is an example of a trend or fad that you participated in from the past? And are there any trends you hope never come back?
Nice. Really good. So you're starting to get some answers from the guys.
Great. I think the
Okay. I think
high-waisted
that.
pants have come back in style in the
Sorry.
last few years. Yeah, sure. High-waisted pants. I think so. You definitely see that a lot more. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
well, at least for guys, several years ago it was like the opposite, right? We had this thing that we call sagging. So sagging is
Yeah.
is like when you almost like you pull your pants down to make it look like they're falling. I remember, I mean, most of like younger people, I suppose, but in high school, I mean, that was like all the rage. It's like everyone had to like sag, and they would wear like basketball shorts underneath, so they wouldn't see their underwear. It's like, yeah, sagging.
Yeah. It's the opposite. But yeah, I think high-waisted pants, like they're just so good because they're really like complimentary when you wear them.
Yeah,
They make you
exactly.
look better.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously more. Yeah. Yeah, sagging. I remember that as well. Like guys going through that thing of like barely wearing their pants, like
Yeah.
just hanging off them. I remember my dad used to always say to guys like, "Pull up your trousers."
Oh, really? You would actually say it to them? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's funny. He doesn't care. He's a policeman, so he just doesn't really.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, as if that's a law or something. Uh, okay, and then Donatella says a trend at the moment is to work smarter because we are obliged to stay at home.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a nice
exactly. I
it's a
think.
nice thing that, yeah, to work smarter, because I do know, actually, no, this is something that I don't think I've ever heard back in the States, like the whole idea of smart working. I hear it a lot in Italy. Lisa, do you think it's something
Mhm.
that is used a lot in English, or is it just mostly something that is used here in Italy?
I think it started to become popular recently. So, because I hadn't heard it much either, because we would have just said in Ireland, we would just said working at home.
Yeah, working from
Uh,
home, working at home.
working at, exactly. But recently, I feel like I've even heard people in Ireland saying like smart working. Oh, we're bringing in smart working. So
I
I
see.
I think
Okay.
it's become like a I guess one of these names that are popular for working from home.
Cool. Yeah, because in
Smart working.
Donatella's example here, it says to work smarter. We can certainly use that. I think a bit more of
Mm,
like if you say to work smarter, to work like efficiently, to work in a way
mm,
that you're not wasting time. You know the steps you need to take to get it done in the shortest amount of time in an efficient way. That means for me to
yeah,
work smart. But we also have the
exactly.
expression smart working, which now
Hmm.
I think nowadays, as Lisa was saying, it's more of a work from home sort of situation.
Yeah, so it's two kind of different things. Whereas I know now as well, there's like a common phrase that people say, like work smarter, not harder. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes sense, but
sure. Work smarter, not
yeah, it's
harder.
like
Yeah, heard that. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So it's basically like efficiency. And also Donatella said to watch many tutorials about how to do everything at home.
Yeah.
Fantastic,
For example,
fantastic.
Donatella, have you learned anything in particular these days? Something that you would maybe not do at home and that you've started doing?
Like, have you tried to cut your own hair yet?
Oh yeah, that's a big one, huh? Because like there are no hairdressers. So you have to cut
Exactly.
it at
Yeah.
home.
Exactly. Yeah. I think some people are struggling with this and they're having like their partner
Yeah.
or their housemate cut their hair.
See, I'm like used to cutting mine at home, like almost always anyway. So for me, that was like pretty an easy transition. But yeah,
Ah,
if you don't do it, it's really scary. Like using the that machine thingy, like the clippers. Like, mm-mm.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I'm gonna have to do the same. I'm gonna have to cut my fringe.
Yeah. I guess in that way, I guess it's a little bit simpler, perhaps. Like if you have like a longer haircut, because then you're just kind of trimming with scissors, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
For guys, it's more complicated, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, and then Alaria.
Okay, so I don't think I would say something if a
Yeah.
friend of mine had an outdated style. Everybody can wear where he thinks it fits to him and what makes him comfortable. Yes, good. A nice expression here, Eladia, we could say, because you said uh, everybody can wear what in English. I think it's more commonly actually to say they, even if I were referring to one person, that they think fits to them. A good one we can say to suit them. It's a verb to
Hmm.
suit someone. It means that it looks good on them. They can
Mm,
wear whatever they think suits them best. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. But yeah,
Suits them
using him is
best.
not wrong. It's perfectly fine. We do
Hmm.
have a tendency to say they, although some grammar purists would actually say that that's the worst thing. You could never say they, but I think it's pretty common.
Yeah, exactly. When we're talking about everybody, like the group. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think like because to be honest, even outdated styles, I don't know. I'm not very on trend with fashion in general, but I think that like a lot of even old-fashioned styles are still kind of interesting. So I think
Yeah.
they look fashionable because you look different. I don't know.
And I think nowadays, especially, I mean, honestly, I think this is the best time that I've seen in fashion ever since I was born. As in, anything goes, and it's really all about like your
Hmm,
self-expression and whatever you like.
exactly.
I don't know. I feel like growing up, it was a bit more like specific, and you had to kind of like fit a mold. But now
Hmm,
it's whatever goes really. I think it's what Elida said. It's about
exactly.
self-expression. It's about what you think suits you best. And even if
Yeah.
it looks a bit off, that's what people go for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
totally agree. And we have a good question there from Ilaria about the difference between fit and suit. So yeah, it's quite funny because fit, when we talk about the fit of something, it's kind of about the measure. Okay. So if you're talking about clothes, so it fits well or it's a good fit. We're talking usually about how it is in terms of the size in relation to our body. Okay, so it's a good fit. So that's what it sounds like when we say it. Whereas if we say it suits you, so for example, what do you think of this dress? Oh, it really suits you. It looks good on you. So yeah, so that's a bit of a difference. Whereas fit is more technical about the size, and suit actually means that it is a good. It just looks good on you,
Yeah.
maybe because of your hair, your skin. Um, Depends.
Yeah. You might have heard
um,
the adjective if something is suitable. So suitable is something that is
mm,
appropriate, right? I mean, you might look for a suitable house. So a house that meets your requirements, a suitable partner if you're looking for a partner, something like that. So that's the adjective, suitable.
very good.
Good. And Donatella said, I've learned how to sew a homemade mat. Oh, wow, impressive. And cook a
Very
variety
good.
of cakes. Very nice. Very nice. Donatella, I would just say to
Lovely.
bake cakes.
Yeah,
It usually goes in the oven. So bake
yeah.
cakes.
So yeah, it's quite funny because in Italian, they don't use bake. There's no equivalent to for baking, I guess, apart from I guess al forno, which is I don't know things in the oven. But I think it can be confusing because we use bake in English for cakes and breads, so things like this, and also like cookies, biscuits.
Hmm.
Actually, I need to do some baking tomorrow myself as well.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna make?
I don't know actually. I might because I've run out of muffin cases, so I can't make muffins. So I might just have to make
Ah,
maybe a lemon cake or something like that.
oh no. Yeah, I've been making a lot
Yeah.
of cakes. I'm not usually very good with things that you have to measure really
Mm.
precisely and get the temperature right. So I've actually been using this time to learn. So they've been getting like better and better every
Cool.
day. But then the thing is, like, I've been
Yeah.
making one a day and eating a lot as a result.
Yeah, this is why I haven't been baking that much because I'll just eat everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay. And then maybe so a trend or fad that you participated in from the past. So I don't know if guys, if you have any examples of this. Um, but yeah, so I think sometimes there are some trends like I remember people like my mum talking about when they had the big hair in the 70s.
Mm.
And they're like, no, don't want that to come back into fashion. Did you ever, when you were younger, Thiago, did you ever like participate in a trend that was terrible?
I'm like trying to think, but I don't like nothing like in particular. I mean, when I was a child, when I was really little, so I grew up in the '90s, like in the early '90s, and my parents, because that wasn't really my decision, but I definitely had the kind of like when you like the bowl cut like in your hair.
Yeah,
So I definitely had like that kind of hair. Which now I look at those pictures, I'm like, oh my gosh, mom, why? Why would you go for this? But I guess it was
yeah,
kind of in style back then, so I had a bit of that. But one that
yeah.
strikes me as being pretty big growing up, I really wasn't a part of it, but was the whole like emo trend. Remember that? It
Yes.
was huge. It was really
Yes.
big,
Very, very big.
and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, it's so true.
I
Yeah,
feel like
it's
our
so
whole
true. That's why
generation is emo
sometimes
now.
now if
We're all depressed.
yeah, exactly, it's true. But now if you actually see someone who's like dressed like goth or emo, it's kind of like surprising. It's not, it's very rare now.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So, guys, let us know. So, feel free to keep answering. We know sometimes there's a bit of a delay when you write a comment, but we will come to it. In the meantime, we might go on to this just while we're waiting. Do you think it's okay? Um, okay. So, I'm just going to take the banner off. Okay. So, we want to look here at small differences and large differences. Okay. So, cars today are far safer than when they were first introduced. Okay, safer. Okay, so in this case, talking about a large difference.
Hmm. Exactly. We have just a couple
Okay,
examples that came in the meantime,
yes,
which you can look at. Donatella's
perfect.
saying, I used to wear high-waisted trousers when I was a teenager. Okay, there we go. So they've made a comeback. I guess in the 80s, I think high-waisted trousers were pretty
I
common,
think
right?
so,
Is
yeah.
that when you were a teenager, Donatella? Because I know the whole like '80s in general is really kind of it has been making like a big comeback in the last few years. I feel like.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. But even the like the crop tops that was like
crop
originally,
top,
I
like
think, really popular in the
oversized,
80s.
like the colors, definitely. And then Elias says, when I was a child, there was the trend of ballerina shoes. They were like the flats, I guess. They were horrible. I hope that now nobody wears them. Yeah,
I
they
think
look
people still
very.
do.
I think they do, but I can imagine like it being because there you have absolutely zero like shock resistance, right, with them. So
Yeah,
any kind of
yeah,
impact
exactly.
must be really bad for your knees, your legs in general.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think they're very well made a lot of the time.
yeah,
um, so yeah, no, definitely, I do. I remember that they still sell them a lot in shops, but I don't find them comfortable.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
sneakers are actually quite big right now. Actually, not just. I remember, like, well, in the U.S., I mean, people have always worn sneakers, but we're not known for being the best dressers in the world. But it's something that in Italy, when I first moved here, you would never catch someone
Mm.
wearing sneakers out and about. But now it's pretty big. There's even, we
Yeah,
call
it's
that
true actually.
athleisure. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, athleisure.
Athleisure. So it's like the style. Athleisure. Is that how you spell this? I'll check on Google. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's like athletic leisure. So like you wear athletic clothes, but you don't practice sport. It's just like your fashion statement.
Yeah, you have people who wear like these brand name sports gear or sports I guess clothes, and they don't actually play any sports ever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. Okay, so what we want to do here is to do some practice. Okay, so practice making some examples with these are modified comparatives. So yeah, cars today are far safer than they were first introduced. That's definitely true. um, so I don't know, maybe we can make some more examples using this. So
Hmm.
far more. Like even I guess obviously at the moment, like far more people are using online streaming services
Yes.
than usual.
Definitely.
So that's even a a current thing
Yeah.
that's happening.
Exactly. We could say that
Um,
online meetings are far more common in this period than before as well.
mhm, exactly. Okay. So I know we can keep going. I don't know, like if it's too slow to just stick on one, or will I keep going?
I get because there are a few examples, right? And but then it still stays on the slide, I think.
Exactly.
And then that way you guys can
Yeah,
maybe pick and
exactly.
choose and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll keep going and we'll let you guys to.
All right. And
Do
the
you want to read
next
this one,
one,
Thiago?
yes, absolutely. So it says musical instruments haven't changed much over the years. While they're slightly less bulky, the construction of the instruments is basically the same. So if we're using slightly more, slightly less, here we're talking about a small difference. It's only a slight difference. Ah, good. We got a couple examples coming in
Exactly.
here.
Really good.
Ilaria, traffic pollution is far
Excellent.
higher than it was 20 years ago. Exactly. And far lower in the last few weeks. And
Fantastic. Yeah,
laptops today
exactly.
are far. So in this case, like technological, Donatella, because it is a long adjective, the comparative you do need to put more. So far more technological than 5 years ago. Yeah. Or even if you want to say high tech,
Excellent.
far more high tech.
Yeah,
Great.
really good. Okay. And then our next example. So, oh, far. Sorry. So in the
Oh, weird.
1990s, grunge style, yeah, I don't know why. Grunge style was on trend. Okay, so on trend. While it made a short comeback, so there's made a short comeback around 2015, the style was not quite as punk inspired as. Okay, so not quite as. So again, this is talking about a small difference, not quite as. Okay, so we use that else as. Okay, so not quite as. Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of another example. Not quite as is a bit difficult to use.
Yeah, I would say that I'm
Like,
not I'm not quite as busy during this lockdown as I was beforehand because I'm
yeah,
teaching less
exactly.
and other commitments that I had are basically gone. So I'm not quite as busy as I was.
Exactly. Or even, I don't know if this is true, but it's just what I've noticed. Like, iPhones are not quite as popular as they used to be.
Yeah.
Like they're still popular, but maybe they're a little bit less popular from
Hmm.
what I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is.
No, I think so. Yeah, because there's so many more as well, so many more competitors, and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think kind of looking at alternatives as well from other countries. Okay, far more again. And then, you want to read this example?
Yes, so here we have women's hairstyles are nowhere near as large and complicated as the beehive of the 50s. So, nowhere near as, this is a large difference. So, they're not even close to
Exactly.
being that. And the beehive, it's the kind of that formation that bees, the animal, they create and they kind of like live inside. It's the beehive.
God, we do not have to have
Oh, can you
styles like
imagine
this.
like the effort? Like that's insane, yeah.
Yeah, I can barely brush my hair.
So Ilaria
Okay,
says,
very
my
good.
brother is
So,
not quite as calm as he was when he used to go to school. Yeah, great example. Very, very nice. Is it
exactly.
correct just the using of calm or is it better? I would say calm is better actually because quiet and an ET, quiet, it's more about kind of like the noise that you make. Whereas calm can be more about your
Mm,
behavior. So I think you probably mean behavior. So calm is best.
perfect. Really good example. Okay, and then using these. Okay, so for more practice, so using these different, so the modified comparatives. So when we're talking about slightly less, far more, not quite as, or nowhere near as, so big differences. We want to try and talk about maybe the current version of things. So, for example, cartoons. Here we have cameras. I don't know, tattoos. These are just examples, but we have the common phrase here, back in my day. Did your parents ever say this, Thiago? Back in my day.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the scary thing is like how sometimes I've started saying it and I'm like, oh God,
Yeah,
back in
I
my
know. It's
day.
you realize you're starting to get old.
Yeah.
Back when I was younger, we didn't have
Yeah.
this. So, thinking about, I don't know, things that maybe have changed. Okay, things that have changed, even in recent years, but also kind of maybe things that have changed a lot.
Hmm.
So obviously we can use things that have changed a little bit and things that have changed a lot. Okay, so to practice using these a little bit. So I could maybe say, for to give one example myself, that unfortunately, for some people, okay, I would say maybe for younger people, not maybe our generation, but maybe younger now, reading books is nowhere near as popular as it used to be. It really, really isn't, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, when I have any of my younger cousins, I've barely ever, 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 ever seen them reading a book.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm,
One maybe positive one, as I think, well, not all of them, of course, but I feel like in general, cartoons are not quite as sexist as they used to be. Sometimes when I look at cartoons from that I grew up with, and then I see like the gender roles that are so common and taken for granted in those old cartoons. I mean, it's something that would never fly today. So I feel like they're
yeah,
more a bit more open and they, yeah, just more inclusive in general.
yeah, yeah. It's true. Actually, they've kind of become. There's a lot more now about girl power, and
Hmm.
it's really nice. Yeah, so guys, let us know your examples maybe of things. Obviously as well, like I think to be honest, like arcade games and things like this, I think they're becoming slightly more popular. Like kind of the vintage, like vintage is coming back into fashion.
Hmm.
Especially like in I don't know if you've seen similar, but in Dublin there is uh, a special arcade, just like the old-fashioned arcades from the 80s, and it's really popular.
Ah, really?
Yeah, yeah, it's very cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to like go someplace like that.
Yeah, like the things like Super Nintendo and things like this, they're
Oh my
coming
gosh,
back in
Super
style.
Nintendo. Yeah, that was my jam growing up. Like Super
Yeah, it was
Mario
so good.
World, I love it. Sonic. Yeah.
Mm. Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, yes. Oh my gosh, and with the
Mm.
like the bubble gum, like that was so cool.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so Donatella has an example here.
So Donatello says movies are nowhere near as attractive as in the past. So what do you mean exactly, Donatella? Do you want to give us some more details? It's a really good statement. I'm really curious
Mhm.
as to what you mean, and especially uh, when do you think like movies were the most attractive? What was there like a specific decade, a time that you really liked the movies? I
Yeah,
certainly
like because
think
I.
TV shows are far
Mm,
better these days. But I don't watch as many movies,
yeah.
so I can't really compare.
Yeah, yeah. I think it really depends. But I think I understand is like because now so many people are watching content online that like going to the cinema isn't, I guess, as I don't know, it does probably doesn't draw as much of a crowd and also the films aren't. Ah, okay. Oh. Okay, so that's actually a different meaning. We want to change
Ah, so I
that.
guess you meant the opposite. So you're saying they're more attractive now.
Okay. So in that case, we would probably say movies nowadays are, we
Far
could probably
more.
say, are far more attractive.
Yeah. Or switching
Far
the
more
order
attractive.
of the nouns. I guess say movies in the past are nowhere near as attractive as movies now. So just
Exactly.
yeah, switching that around. Great. And then Elia, she mentioned the PlayStation. So the PlayStation is nowhere near as simple. Then she kind of corrected herself there. So it's nowhere near as
Mhm.
simple as it was 20 years ago. Sony company has changed a lot of fun. Yeah, Elijah, that's something my mom says because actually growing up, my mom she used to actually play video games with me. And she says that nowadays, like she can't enjoy it because the controls are so complicated and there are all these features. One
Yeah,
game that we played a lot growing up was Tomb Raider. Uh,
yeah,
and now I tell her to because they're like the new games now, and I tell her we should play Tomb Raider. She says, "Oh, it's like too complicated. All this like stealth mode and having to, you know, getting objects to create your own weapons as opposed to just having like weapons with unlimited bullets, like things like that." Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's so true. I remember trying to play like a video game with my younger cousins like 5 years ago, and I couldn't even do the simple thing of actually staying looking forward because you had to control your view all the time. So every time I played, my character would
Ah.
just go like this, and I was just looking up, and I was like, "How do I look forward?" It's too complicated, and the controls are very sensitive.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
yeah.
struggle is real.
So yeah, guys, let us know if you have any other examples. Unfortunately, we're already at the end of this hour. I had a lot of fun actually, like discussing these things with you guys. So
Yeah,
we hope that you liked it as well, and especially with these comparatives, because that's kind of the grammar structural part of this lesson. Do try to incorporate it. Now, of course, you can always just use a simple comparative, anytime. But at this
yeah,
level, you really have to kind of make this effort, try to use the new expressions so you get more comfortable and then you can communicate a lot more efficiently, you can give degrees of comparison a bit better.
exactly. Yeah, and just remember, I'm just putting that on the screen again. Just remember the ones that we use for small differences and then the ones that we use for large differences. Okay, so expressing that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. It was lovely to talk to you. Really, really nice conversation and really fun. Talk about some fads and trends.
Awesome, guys. So enjoy your afternoon, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Have
All
a great
right.
evening.
Bye. Bye bye.
I'm still saying evening.